You know how some cities are just insane? They're either booming so fast you can't even recognize them year to year, or they're just kind of stuck. Well, what if a city could get the balance just right? Today, we're looking at Grand Rapids, Michigan, which seems to have figured out how to pair a really stable economy with a genuinely vibrant community. Let's see how they're doing it. So, what's the secret sauce, right? Is it just about the numbers, job growth and home prices? Or is it something more? Is it about the feeling you get when you're there? That sense of community, the stuff there is to actually do. And that's exactly where Grand Rapids in 2026 becomes such an interesting story. It's not trying to be the loudest or the fastest. Instead, it's found this unique sweet spot, this equilibrium between solid, steady fundamentals and a really dynamic culture. Okay, so here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with a big picture snapshot of the city in 2026. Then we're going to dive deep into the housing market puzzle. From there, we'll get specific with an investor's map, check out the city's community hub, and then, at the end, we'll see why it all connects. All right, first up, let's talk real estate. To really get a handle on what's going on in Grand Rapids, you only need to look at three key numbers. And together, they tell a really clear story. So, first, inventory. At the start of 2026, there were just 383 active listings in all of Kent County. Now, to give you some perspective, that is incredibly tight. It means homes for sale are scarce, and that naturally keeps the market competitive. Next up, how fast are houses actually selling? Well, on average, they're on the market for about 21 days. Now, that's definitely quick, but it's not that offer in an hour absolute frenzy we saw a few years back. There's a little more breathing room now. And finally, the prices. The median home price is holding remarkably steady, sitting somewhere between $280,000 and $342,000. This is not a market of wild, unpredictable swings. It's a market you can pretty much count on. So what do we call this kind of market? I think the best way to describe it is tight but cooling. You've got that low supply that gives sellers an edge, but the pace is slowed down just enough to give buyers a chance to actually think. It creates this really interesting balanced tension. Now, you might be thinking, wait, how can inventory be low if more new houses are coming on the market? Well, here's a great way to think about it. Imagine a grocery store shelf. Even if the stockroom keeps sending out more cans of soup, if the shelf itself is mostly empty, you still have low supply. That's exactly what's happening here. So what does this all mean for you? It really just comes down to preparation. For buyers, it means you've got to get your financing totally locked down. We're talking full underwriting before things heat up. And for sellers, it means using these early months to get your home show ready, because the people who are prepared for that spring market are the ones who are going to win. Okay, so we've got the big picture. Now let's zoom in. Because if you're thinking about investing in Grand Rapids, it's not about timing the whole market. It's about picking the right neighborhood, the right submarket. And this is basically the investor's playbook for the city. It shows you that there's no single best neighborhood. It all depends on your strategy. Are you playing the long game for appreciation, or do you need that cash flow right now? Are you after stability or hunting for a project you can add value to? Let's just take Easttown and Belknap Lookout, for example. Yeah, you're going to pay a premium to get in, but you're buying into these super walkable areas with a proven history of value growth. On the flip side, you've got a neighborhood like West Grand, which is a total goldmine for a hands-on investor who wants to get in there and create their own value. But you got to be careful, especially if you're not from the area. The biggest mistake people make is thinking all of Grand Rapids is the same. Success here really demands that granular block-level knowledge. It's a market that rewards solid fundamentals, not just chasing the latest fad. And this stability isn't happening in a vacuum. It's anchored by a really diverse and modernizing economy. We're talking about major infrastructure projects, like replacing the Martin Luther King Jr. Street Bridge, and local businesses are leaning hard into things like automation and AI. So the foundation is solid. But that leads to an even bigger question. The numbers show us stability, and the map shows opportunity. But what's the real force that makes it all tick? To answer that, we have to look past the spreadsheets and into the heart of the city itself. And honestly, there is no better place to feel the pulse of Grand Rapids than its downtown market. Just take a look at what a typical month there looks like. For starters, you've got events like Spicy Saturdays. This is a market-wide festival dedicated to all things fiery. We're talking spicy chicken sandwiches, scorpion pepper kettle corn. If it's hot, it's here. The whole place is just buzzing with this incredible energy. And then there's something like Rack Stars Karaoke Night. This is where the locals get on stage and just have a blast.
It is pure, unfiltered fun. This isn't some show for tourists. This is just the city enjoying itself.
They even have an event called Slithering Sunday. It's a family thing where kids can get right up close with turtles and snakes and even gators. It's quirky, it's memorable, and it's for everybody.
And it's not all just weekend fun either. The market has Work from the Greenhouse, which is this beautiful, sun-filled space for remote workers. It's a true community hub, firing on all cylinders all week long. So that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, tying it all together. I mean, how on earth does a stable real estate market have anything to do with karaoke nights and spicy food festivals? Well, here's how it all connects. It's a loop. A strong, diverse economy is what brings people to Grand Rapids in the first place. That economic stability then allows this vibrant, creative community to really blossom. And that strong sense of place makes people want to put down roots, which, in turn, fuels that stable housing market. You see? It's a self-reinforcing cycle. So, what's the big takeaway here? In Grand Rapids, you have a housing market that's built on steadiness, not risky speculation. You have an investment landscape where you win by knowing your stuff, not just by chasing a trend. And most importantly, you have a cultural scene that isn't just for show. It creates a real, tangible feeling of belonging. And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. When we look at all these other cities chasing explosive growth, sometimes at any cost, you have to wonder, maybe the model Grand Rapids is showing us, this careful balance of stable and vibrant, isn't just a different way, but maybe it's a better way. Is steady the new successful? Definitely something to think about.